Hello and welcome to another edition of UFO Video Addicts. Let me give you a preview of what I got coming up in this video. Let's see, the first is a video from NASA, which apparently shows what this person is claiming is a giant mothership. I'm not too sure. Let's see, another one from NASA. This is NASA published and then deleted a photograph of a mysterious spacecraft on the surface of Mars. And you can see here it is, and then when you go back to it, it's gone. Let's see, this is a video of a huge meteor that flew over San Francisco yesterday. Also have this video about this mysterious stone egg of Lake Winnipesaukee or something like that. I don't know how to say that. Winnipesaukee? I think that's how you say that. Let's see, I also have this article about this horse mutilation that happened 50 years ago. The death of a horse 50 years ago. It was, similar to the cattle mutilations. And then here's a photo that shows, whatever was used to cut the hide in the 1970s up to the, to 2021 recently. It's the same tool. You can see, leaves the same marks. Let's see, this is a video about the Voynich Manuscript and its possible interpretation. Apparently, someone put this stuff through a computer and it was able to determine that some of the language is Hebrew. So we'll look at that. Let's see, a couple days ago, I did a video about what Greece looked like in the past, and here is a video of what Rome looked like in the past. And I want to contrast this, because this is Rome probably 5,000 years ago, and you can see what these people were building. I want to contrast this with this first contact with, when Americans encountered like 250,000 people on New Guinea, and how, essentially this is probably in the 1950s. And, these people were essentially cavemen, right? Living as prehistoric, or living in prehistoric conditions. And this is in the 1950s, right? And you don't see any megaliths here. And yet 5,000 years ago, you had these people building stuff like this. And not just the buildings, it's just the whole culture. Because these people had social hierarchy, they had a system of government, right? They had laws in place. I mean, basically, the culture that we have today was, established 5,000 years ago, and yet you have people like this who never evolved or developed, into any type of advanced society. So I just find that very interesting. And then last is just this article about this cyber polygon event. This doesn't have anything to do with UFOs or aliens, but, I'm a truth seeker and I like to keep people informed of what's going on, because I'm sure you're aware mainstream media, corporate media doesn't tell you the truth. So this is just an article just as basically a warning of what could happen, in October of 2019, they supposedly ran this simulation of a pandemic, and then less than 6 months later, it actually happened. So, this is, this event that they're going to be simulating may actually happen, because it's, similar to this pandemic. This is going to be something that they plan to happen. So anyways, we'll take a look at that. So let me just go to this first video here. Yeah, this one, it says NASA shows a giant alien mothership near Mercury. It shows this object here, but I'm not too sure if it's a mothership. Let me go back about here. Turn that down. Yeah, and you see, and it shows up after this coronal mass. The blip appeared when a sun's coronal mass ejection reached planet Mercury. And you see this thing appear. So here it is. Now, I'm I'm all about acknowledging the fact that there are these planet-sized objects that are being moved around our solar system. But I'm not too sure if this is one of those. Right? This could be some type of electromagnetic reaction to something around the planet, but not necessarily a solid object. But again, that's just my speculation. It could actually be something. I don't know. I'm not too sure about this, but link will be in the description. This is a very interesting video here. I mean, you can obviously see, that there's something here. NASA published and then deleted a photograph of a mysterious spacecraft on the surface of Mars. Yeah, look at this thing. That comes to mind is that it must have been created by man. Fortunately for us, several independent researchers wanted to create copies of the image, so we can still see it. Yeah, apparently when this thing first put out, some people copied it or downloaded it, but then NASA removed it, because if you go back to their website, it's not there anymore. So again, obviously, the people who are aware know that NASA lies to us all the time. They know this stuff, but they'll still deny that that these anomalies are out there. Anyways, let me go on to this next video here. This is a huge meteor that supposedly flew over San Francisco. I mean, it's definitely a meteor. Well, at least I think it's a meteor. I mean, lately, there have been several of these objects filmed, but you know what? All those other objects were definitely taking a more horizontal line. This, because the fact that it's moving down, it seems to be being affected by gravity. I'm going to go with, this is a meteor, as opposed to, like a craft being mistaken as a meteor. But let's see, let me go on to the next one. Yeah, this is an interesting video I found about this stone egg. Let's check this. Look at the size of this thing, though.
The mystery stone egg is approximately 4 inches long, 2.5 inches thick, and weighs 18 ounces, and has a dark hue to it. Hard as granite, it is about the size and shape of a goose egg. The stone is a type of quartzite derived from sandstone, or myelinite, a fine-grained rock formed by the transference of rock layers along faults. There are holes bored in both ends of the stone, and it was drilled through from end to end with different sized tools and polished along its surface. Beyond its strange construction and design, the stone is marked with bizarre carvings ranging from astronomical symbols to a human face along its smooth sides. On one side, there are what appears to be inverted arrows, a moon with some dots.
Now, if this is granite, this is definitely very, very hard. So whoever did this had to have tools that were harder than granite. And, apparently this thing is very, very old based on, how deep they found it in the soil. But it's definitely a mystery. I can't play the whole thing, so I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. Let's see. This is an article about this horse that was mutilated similar to cows. The death of a horse 50 years ago put the San Luis Valley on the world map, and discussions continue today. The diary of an old family friend says it took place on September 27, 1967, while other accounts have the incident happening on other dates. A columnist for the Rocky Mountain News observed that Lady Snippy had become more famous in death than Man-O-War has in his prime. He also suggested the horse had tripped and fallen with its head in a band of cannibal ants. The only thing people can say for certain after the past 5 decades is that something killed Nellie Lewis's horse. The horse, an Appaloosa named Lady, was a creature of habit, so caregivers Harry King became concerned when she didn't come to the fence behind the King home for her water and usual treat. Let's just go back to here. The horse's footprints ended about 100 feet from where the remains lay. No other prints were around. The Lewises found 15 burns that could be circular exhaust marks. 100 yards north of the carcass, they found a 3-foot bush and bushes within a 10-foot radius of the bush that had been flattened to within 10 inches of the ground. 6 indentations 2 inches across and 6 inches deep formed a circle 3 feet in diameter. So apparently something landed there. On the bushes, Nellie found some gelatin-like green blobs and a piece of metal covered with horsehair. After touching these, her hands began to burn and hurt until she could wash them. The only footprints around by then were those of people Nellie knew had been there. Okay, so again, this is a long article. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you could check it out. But here's another thing I wanted to point out. Okay, this happened in 1967, and here is a photograph of the close-up of the tool marks left by whatever was used to slice these animals open. Here's from 1970, and then here's 50 years later. The same tool is being used. So that's very, very interesting. But anyways, link to this will be in the description. Let me go on to this next one. This is about the Voynich Manuscript. This was, a strange book that was found by this bookseller Voynich. And for many years it was a mystery, but apparently someone finally put it through a computer program that was able to decipher it. But check this out.
Many have attempted to decipher this document and failed. Here's the history behind one of the most mysterious books in the world. The Voynich Manuscript has been featured in many movies, TV shows, and books due to the several mysteries that surround it. The script is named after Wilfrid Michael Voynich, who was the book dealer that bought it from a Jesuit library in 1912 in Italy. Scholars have utilized the numerous illustrations in the manuscript and have separated the content into 6 different sections: astronomical, cosmological, herbal, pharmaceuticals, biological, and recipes. Despite this, the content of the manuscript remained elusive. Research being conducted currently relies largely on computer analysis. A study published in 2016 tried to analyze the book using a computer program, and its algorithm found that approximately 80% of the words in the manuscript were written in Hebrew. Although strange, the first sentence was translated to English, which read, "She made recommendations to the priest, man of the house, and me and people." So is the code for the Voynich manuscript cracked? Not quite.
Anyways, I don't want to play any more of that, but this is kind of interesting. They seems to have figured something out of it, but take a look at the video. I'll leave the link in the description. Let me go on to this next one. Okay, this is what Rome looked like, ancient Rome. And remember, this is probably, like 7,000 years ago, 5,000 BC, between 10,000 and 5,000 BC, I'm sure. But look at the level of detail, in this style. Look at the perfection. And another thing to consider is that while these people were living like this, and let me go to this other video again. I want to show a contrast. This is, like I said, 10,000 to 5,000 BC. okay, over 7,000 years ago. Now, let's just go back 70 years ago, right? This is the 1950s on Papua New Guinea. Check this out.
There was not so many around the first day, but the next day there was a big crowd arrive. They were all in one long line, and they'd come in with the food and sugar cane and stuff like that, and to show that they were friendly and they wanted to trade with us. But I think they did think that we were something a bit more than ordinary humans.
Yeah, I'm sure these people thought that these people in planes were gods, right? I'm sure you people have heard about the cargo cults years ago. You know, when U.S. warplanes flew over certain islands, again, and those people were living like they were in prehistoric times. So yeah, so where are all the megaliths? You know, where are all the buildings like this? How come these people don't build stuff like this? You know, my feeling is these are earthlings, right? Anyone who lives in as hunter-gatherers or who lives in tribes, right, are earthlings. I believe these people most likely brought all of this knowledge, all this entire culture from somewhere else, but it didn't develop here on this planet because, like, if you go back and you look at all the other indigenous people on the planet, they were mostly all living like this, except, and then you have one area in the Mediterranean where people who have skin that sunburns, right? That didn't evolve on this planet. They sunburn. These people sunburn. These people don't sunburn. I think there's a difference. But anyways, let me just go on to this last article here. Like I said, yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with UFOs or aliens, but it is a warning. You know, if people who have been paying attention are aware that before the 9/11 attacks, our military was holding simulations. Before the London bombings, you know, there was a company that was holding simulations, and interesting enough, the exact train line and number of bus in the simulation were the ones that actually blew up in reality. So, you know, how do you account for that? And also, before the pandemic here, check this out. Here, of these, event 201 was co-hosted by the World Economic Forum in October 2019 and simulated a novel coronavirus pandemic that spreads around the world and causes major disruptions to the global economy. Just a few weeks before the first case of COVID-19 appeared. Yeah, so now do you honestly believe that a simulation that they were practicing for, right, that had never ever happened on the planet, and then in less than 6 months, it actually happens, and we're supposed to believe that this isn't planned? But anyway, so, you know, they're going to try something else. It's called Cyber Polygon 2021 is merely the latest such simulation co-sponsored by the World Economic Forum. The forum's current agenda and its past track record of hosting prophetic simulations demand that the exercise be scrutinized. Absolutely true. But, you know, one thing that I think they're talking about here is how our world is changing, folks. You know, this whole talk about UBI, Universal Basic Income, they're going to have to implement something like that because we're going towards a robotic world. Yeah, if anyone who's into investing, put your money into robotic stocks because that's where the world is going. People are going to be out of work. People are going to have this universal basic income because robots are going to be taking over all of those, or many of those manual tasks that used to be performed by people. But anyways, yeah, this is a warning. I'll leave a link in the description. Check it out. If you like things like this, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share this video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I have more things like this. Take care.